Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today's second video to USA forecast for today's second video. So as always, on a Wednesday, we're having a look at the weather now for the next 10 to 14 days for the United States. I shall get on that for you in a moment. Just say that the first video today was our nice little 7 a.m. upload. So just having a look at the weather for the next 2 or 3 days in detail. Going to be wet and windy tomorrow. Grim old day. Check out the 7 a.m. Forecast if you'd like to do that. Got a 10 to 14 day coming up for you later on this afternoon, and then we'll have our latest bank holiday Monday update, bank holiday weekend update for you this evening around 7 p.m. So that's what's coming up. That's the schedule for today. Let's get on with the USA forecast then. So we're going to begin by having a look at GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're looking at Chicago today. It's turned hot in many parts of America. The red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Chicago. You see we're above average there at the moment. It get even hotter. Temperatures will be rising to around 15 degrees or more at 850 HPA. That's significantly hotter than average for the Midwest at this point of the year. So that probably gets temperature into the 80s Fahrenheit, I would have thought, across many parts of sort of northern, eastern, Midwestern America. There is a drop in temperature by the end of the month. Things are cooling down just here. Maybe not for long, though. It looks so those temperatures might start to pick up again as we move into the beginning of June. A lot of scatter, though, so not guaranteed to cool down. Actually, several of these ensemble members do keep things quite hot or very quickly hot things back up again. But I think there probably will be a cool down right through the far north of America into the Midwest. Possibly the far northeast as well at the end of the month before it begins to warm up quite quickly into early June. Precipitation-wise, a few showery bursts at the moment, but quite a bit of dry weather. Does look as though things get significantly more unsettled by the end of May and into the early part of June. There are some absolutely enormous precipitation spikes in there. I'm sure you've noticed them. Some of them are absolutely going off the chart, actually. They are bringing, a very, very extreme amounts of rain indeed. Almost certainly, I would have thought, from thunderstorms as we bring low pressure in from the north and start to cool things down. Triggers thunderstorms. There are outliers, of course, those huge precipitation spikes, but generally it does look as though late May, end of May into early June is a wet period, albeit potentially quite warm. So there's a chance of a lot of volatility here, I would have thought, for Chicago and for the Midwest and for the North America generally. Quite a bit of volatility, and could be some big old thunderstorms as we go into the end of May and the beginning of June. Temperature anomalies from the 19th to 27th of May look like that. So quite cool in the northwest. This northwestern part of America is pretty cool, anywhere from northern Canada up the west coast and then over into central western states. Quite cool through there. And also in the south, in the far south, looking a little bit cool. So through Texas, so these southern states, looks pretty cool through there. But then we've got this big area of hotter than average, warmer than average temperature anomalies right through the Rocky Mountain states, and then extending particularly through the Midwest and into the east and the northeast. Significantly above average temperatures there. So quite hot in the north and the east, but cooler in the south and particularly in the west. Precipitation anomalies varying from state to state. So the southwestern states, very dry, of course, as you'd expect. This time of year now, Arizona into much of California, very dry through there, extending up towards some parts of Nevada, for example. Then it gets wetter, though, as we go further north of that into these western and northwestern states, rather wetter through there. The central states are mixed, probably quite close to average in many of those areas, and then heading over towards the eastern side, actually it is significantly drier than average, particularly so in that southeastern corner. So this is the setup for today across America. A large ridge of high pressure sitting over these eastern states, drawing up very warm or hot southerly winds through central and eastern parts of America. Out in the northwest, it's a lot cooler there as the air is coming in from the Pacific Ocean. That's how the upper air temperatures looking, so you can clearly see quite cool in this northwestern corner. Otherwise, it's a warm scene, a hot scene across many parts of America, and especially so in these northern states and down in the southwest too. Of course, we'd expect it to be very hot in those southwestern states. Through the rest of this week, we keep this area of high pressure sitting over into the east of the country again, drawing up those southerly winds through many central and eastern parts of America, always looking cooler out in the west and in the northwest, and maybe quite unsettled and showery, some of those northwestern states as well. The weekend doesn't really show any change. That's how the upper air temperatures looking on Saturday, for example. Again, it's a very warm or hot scene across many parts of America. Temperatures widely up into the 80s Fahrenheit with this. In the northwest, so it's a lot cooler there, generally on this western side, particularly so in the northwest. Yes, we do see cooler upper air temperatures through there. Into Sunday, not much of a change. There's some low pressure trying to get going. Could bring some thunderstorms through these Rocky Mountain states. And going further eastwards, the ridge remains in control, bringing further hot weather across many parts of central and eastern America. Quite a deep area of low pressure beginning to develop around the US-Canadian border there on Monday. That's going to try and push cooler air in from Canada. That could be the trigger for some big thunderstorms to push through the north and the midwest through the middle part of next week. So that's Tuesday next week. Again, we've still got this ridge sitting over these eastern states, still drawing up those hot southerly winds from the Gulf. This area of low pressure coming in from the northwest, so is going to be meeting that hot air. And yes, that could well be the trigger for some heavy rain and thunderstorms. So those big precipitation spikes that we saw on the ensemble graph for Chicago, probably some of those being thunderstorms being triggered by this area of low pressure coming in from Canada and meeting that hot air. That's how the upper air temperatures look on Tuesday next week. Generally, it is a hot scene, a very warm to hot scene across much of America. It is cooler in the far north and northwest, particularly so behind that area of low pressure. So that takes us through to Wednesday. Again, there's a cold front pushing through these northern and midwestern states over towards the eastern states eventually. That will potentially, as it comes in, that hot air be the trigger for some very intense and violent thunderstorms and torrential rain. And behind it, we pull in much colder air from the north. See the winds actually turning into the north through the Midwest. And the air is plunging in from Canada. So look at the upper air temperatures on Wednesday. Again, most parts of America looking hot, particularly these eastern states and also the southern and southwestern states look quite hot too. But up in the north, it is a lot cooler through there. We've even got -5 Celsius iceberg coming back into the far North America from Canada. So a big temperature contrast will be, will be driving those heavy downpours and potential for thunderstorms through the middle part of next week. It's looking pretty volatile through to the end of next week. There's another area of low pressure developing there through the Midwest. That could well, again, be triggering more heavy showers and thunderstorms as that one pushes eastwards. Still looks pretty warm on the East Coast, I have to say. The eastern seaboard was still drawing up like a southerly wind through much of next week through there. I'm not sure the cooler air ever really makes it onto the East Coast. But most parts of northern, central, midwestern, northeast America do cool down. At the same time, I think the heat is building out in these western states. So there's a ridge like centered around Texas, and on the western side of that ridge will start to drop hotter air from Mexico into those western and southwestern states. That's how the upper air temperatures look by Saturday, 29th of May. So still really quite warm or hot on the East Coast, but generally through the breadbasket states of the Midwest looking a lot cooler. But out in the west, see the heat is really starting to build now and intensify through these western and southwestern states. Very, very intense heat through there. Don't think the cool down is going to last all that long across those central and northern parts of America as we move into extended range with this GFS from the basic setup, comes back of high pressure sitting over these eastern states and again drawing up those southerly winds. So as we come to the end of the GFS midnight run, which day gets us to the 4th of June, see most parts of America have turned very warm or hot again. Hottest weather is clearly in the west and the southwest where you'd expect it to be in June, but most parts of America I think are back into the 80s Fahrenheit there by the time we get through to the early part of June. So any cool down later next week probably is only temporary, and then it begins to get hotter once again, a reload of the heat, if you like. This is how the ECM, the Euro, is looking all very similar for today. High pressure is sitting across eastern parts of America, drawing up those southerly winds. It's a warm scene, a hot scene across many parts of America, especially so in these western and southwest states. But all areas look warm to very warm or even hot today. Into tomorrow, the high pressure again is over on the east side. The winds are drawing up from the south, so into the weekend as well. No particular change. It just looks very warm across many parts of America, with high pressure dominating through the central and eastern parts of America. A little bit more unsettled and cooler out in the west, and particularly so in the northwest, as we see from the upper air temperatures. But overall, a warm to hot scene across large parts of states through the weekend and on into next week as well. That's how the upper air temperatures look on Sunday, for example. Very warm across most parts of America. Into the early part of next week, there's that area of low pressure getting going just to the north of the states into Canada. That's going to try and pull cooler air, but also may trigger cooler air. That's going to try and pull cooler air down from Canada, but also may trigger heavy showers and thunderstorms and torrential rain through these northern and midwestern states. That's how the upper air temperatures look through the middle of next week. Not pulling as much cool air in from Canada with that area of low pressure on the ECM. So most parts of America away from the far west coast are actually looking, pretty warm or hot actually there through the middle part of next week. I think the second half of next week probably does trigger some thunderstorms here. This trough of low pressure pushing through the Midwest. Not as much, though, as the GFS is showing. And by day 10, you can see the ridge is beginning to re-establish again over on the east side and starting to pull those winds back up from the south. So your upper air temperatures maybe cool down for a day or two through the middle part of next week in the Midwest and in the north, but not progressing anywhere near as much with that cool down as the GFS does, and probably limiting the thunderstorm potential somewhat as well. Although I think even the ECM is developing some thunderstorms through northern and northeastern and east parts of America, Midwest America, for a day or two next week. Very hot by day 10 in these western and southwestern states, but you see most parts of America again are looking really warm or hot through to day 10. Right, just have a look at CFSV2, and then we're done. So, 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 18th to 24th of May. Coming week has this area of high pressure in the east that will draw up these hot southerly winds through many central and eastern parts of America, cooler out in the west and the northwest with this trough of low pressure. Then we go through to week 2, which is going to be the 25th to 31st of May, showing a ridge slipping southwards and away to the northwest, low pressure up towards the northeast. I think jet stream is just coming south, so the CFS is cooling things down, I think, across large parts of America into week 2, although the heat would be building, of course, in the south and southwest, with that area of high pressure just there. Moving through to week 3, this is how we're looking. So a re-establishment of the ridge in the east and the northeast really probably starts to draw warmer air back up from the south once again. And we get through to week 4, which is going to be the 8th through to the 14th of June. And again, we see a ridge across many of these eastern, southeast parts of America and off the northwestern coast. Jet stream is probably going to be doing something a little bit like that. I think that could be, again, quite warm for those eastern and northeastern states. Precipitation, temperature-wise, looking like this. So, east-west split this week, so cooler in the west, very warm or hot in these northern and eastern parts of America. Into week 2, which is 25th to 31st, maybe so we look. So many of the southern states, southeast states going hotter. And we also see, but it's pretty warm in the northwest to cooler though, cool down through the north, midwest, and into the northeast. The far eastern seaboard looks rather warm. Remember, the GFS is bringing that cool down and also thunderstorms through. The ECM does it far less. Then we get through to week 3, which is the 1st through to the 7th of June. Most central and northern parts of America looking hot, and out in the west too. A little bit cooler in the south and in the southeast. And then week 3, which is the 8th to the 14th of June, looking very warm to possibly quite hot through those midwestern and eastern states. A little bit cooler in the southwest, but generally it's quite a warm scene across most parts of America actually by that point. Precipitation-wise, a three-way split, so the far northwest actually looks a little bit drier. This week they have this very wet spell progressing, in towards the midwestern states. And then over in the east and the southeast, it's drier, an average with that area of high pressure again. More settled into week 2, which is the 25th to 31st of May. So large parts of particularly eastern America and also the northeast too, looking rather wet and average. It's a bit drier in the west and in the southwest. Week 3 is the 1st through to the 7th of June. Drier in the northeast, wetter in the southeast with that one. And then week 3 is the 8th through to the 14th of June. Beginning to lose the signal a little bit now, I think, but still a bit wetter than average in the southeast, a little bit drier than average in the northeast, and nearer normal perhaps elsewhere. Right, so the main talking point, I think, is the big change that has taken place over the last week. Remember that through much of this year, actually, many parts of America have been really cold. It's been a cold few months. It's been a dramatic flip over the past week. We did see this coming when we did last week's USA forecast. We said that there was likely to be a very significant warm-up. That warm-up has taken place. And now America's in a very different regime that is much, much warmer, much hotter, and potentially rather more volatile, though, as well, when these troughs come through and push into that hot and humid air. So it looks like this warmth is generally going to continue. There will be interruptions and cool downs and periods of thundery activity, convective activity, as cooler air pushes into the hot and humid air. But it looks like the general setup has now changed into something much, much more typical for the time of year, which, of course, in a continental climate like you have in America, is going to be generally quite hot. Through the summer at this point of the year. So I think we expect further heat to come, albeit interrupted at times by cool downs. It looks like, the summer, the USA summer, is well and truly underway now, whereas in parts of Europe, we're still waiting for it to get going, but I'm sure it will soon. Right, that's it for USA forecast. I'm going to be back later on with a 10 to 14 day for the UK and for Europe as well, and then we're doing a bank holiday update tonight for this week's USA forecast. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.